It is your host, Emmanuel Isaiah Smith, and I want to do a video that is a supplemental to my previous video on repeat stalkers. This is about chaos agents from a targeted individual's past. Part of a gang-stalking campaign, actually quite sizable part of a gang-stalking campaign are people from a targeted individual's past re-emerging unsolicited by the targeted individual to cause trouble. Now, mind you, it's a concerted effort. Nothing in gang-stalking is spontaneous. Everything is plotted, planned, pre-programmed,